Hello, everyone. It has been a long time since I've been live. So, hello to all of you. It's nice to be back. I can't promise you how often I'm going to be live. I haven't been live in a while because I have been busy. I've been at work, uh, working in multiple countries, getting things together for countries I haven't told y'all that I'm working with yet. It's a lot of work that goes into this job. Getting settled, getting a new house, getting prepared to launch some more ministry ventures in my new home in Kenya. It's a lot of work that goes into this job. So that's where I've been. That's why I haven't been doing lives, but we're going to do some of those more often now that I'm a bit more stable. For the new people, I do not have a live stream schedule. I get on live whenever I feel led to be on live. Whenever I actually have something to say. I commend people who do regular lives. That's not a grace that I have. I know some people, they do lives every week. They have people that teach every week live. More grace to you. That's not something I can do. Uh, so, just going to give y'all a little bit of time to hop on just for today's topic. And please engage me in the comment section. I do read the comment section. Please stay on topic with what we're talking about today. In general, I can say in order to find me, my ministry, and all the stuff that I'm working on, stay up to date, the best place for that is on my website, that being caveofmystery.org. If you go to caveofmystery.com, nothing comes up. That is not me. That has nothing to do with me. And the domain costs too much for me to own it. I looked. So let's see. All right. All right, everyone. So I'm not going to stall any longer. Let's get into today's topic. So I want to talk to you about apostolic grace and the spirit of Herod, and I'm going to talk about them in order a little bit, and then I'm going to flip between the two as I do a compare and contrast, because oftentimes they get mistaken for one another. So when we talk about apostolic grace, the first question I'll answer is, what in the world is an apostle? An apostle is someone, actually a governmental term that's more commonly today used in a religious sense. I use mine in its original sense. It's still governmental to me. And the function of the apostle was to go into a territory that was not conquered. They only have one of two jobs. They're either to go into a territory, they're sent on behalf of a country, of a kingdom, and they're sent into a territory to make that territory like their home kingdom. Or they're sent to a territory that has already been conquered, and they help with the terraformation, and they help with the maintenance, keeping it in its kingdom origin, in its kingdom blueprint. Apostles are creatures of blueprint by design, which actually causes conflict. All of us cannot work together because we're working on different things, even though we might work for the same person. We might work for the same kingdom. And us being strict and actually called to our blueprint, if we're authentic, that is the number one reason why, regardless of character, we will find ourselves in a more confrontational scenario when it comes to working with people in or out of a spiritual sense, because the very presence of an apostle challenges a system. Apostles are sent to address systems, not people, which is why I found it hard. I've seen a lot of apostles compromise their calling in order to be pastors, even though God didn't call them pastors. They called them God. The royal family called them as apostles, which means they get more distracted by the people than they are focused on the blueprint. And they'll say, I'll do my blueprint when the people are ready. I'll let you know something about apostles. I'll let you know something about our job. And I'm not the only one. Of course, there's plenty of us. It's just a job description. It's like saying you're the manager. There's a bunch of managers. I'll let you know something about apostles. Okay. I'll speak to you, other apostles that could be watching this. If at any point you find yourself saying, oh, I can't do that because the people are not ready. I cannot say that because the people are not ready. I cannot go there because the people are not ready. I want you to know that you are out of your identity. It is disrespectful to your calling for you to ever complain about a people that are not ready for what you're meant to bring. That is your job. It is the job of the apostle to shift the culture, to recognize what the culture is. But the job of the apostle is not assimilation. We're not meant to go into a nation, to go into a region, to go into a culture and blend with it. No, we're sent wherever you're sent to is the place you're meant to change. So for you to sit around and complain, oh, this group isn't ready, this group isn't ready, I can't say this, I can't do that. I want you to know that you're not operating in your grace. You're not doing your job. You're complaining about the job you're meant to go do. So I understand just in that alone, that means that you recognize that backlash comes with the job because you're addressing people's culture, you're addressing their traditions, you're addressing their systems. And oftentimes I forget who said it first, but I found that this quote reigns true. There was a man who said, whenever I address the system, they think that I'm talking to them because they've so closely identified with the system that I'm criticizing. That is the blueprint of apostolic functioning. It's system-based, not people-based. People fit within the system, but the system is the job. It helps people, but it's more about the system than it is about people, which means that it's possible for you as an apostle to do your job well and people don't know who you are, yet your effect be evident. We live in an age where the effect of a spiritual leader is dictated by how popular they are, how many followers they have, how many people attend their ministry, how much money they have coming in. And that's only beneficial in some cases because not everyone's calling is going to bring them a bunch of numbers. Everyone's calling isn't like that. Some of us aren't really called to be out in the forefront. And again, your popularity doesn't really speak to your level of authority or dominion in the spirit realm. Some of the most powerful people I know are not known globally. I know people who go into their prayer closet and pray and they step out in another country. The world doesn't know them. I get to know them. I know people who, when they go to pray, they go into their house in a room and they lock themselves away for weeks at a time, days and weeks at a time. No food, no water, finesse 2 times. Right? I know people who lock themselves away and they pray for days and weeks at a time. And they come out with a spiritual pressure that's so densely packed around them, it could stop bullets. I know people like that. They're not going to you don't see those people on TV, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. I'm saying that just to say that I'm like, I know people who've raised the dead multiple times. There's people out here who've raised the dead so much that they started to offend families who are ready for their loved ones to go. People who wanted the house and the will and sued the pastor for raising them back, so they stopped. I know people who raised the dead and went out raising the dead to the point where they got arrested for it. You don't know them. They're not popular, but that doesn't limit what they're able to walk in, who they are, and what they're recognized by in the spirit. That's a modern society thing where we equate publicity and popularity with spiritual access or spiritual authority. And I blame that on your leaders. I'll talk about Herod in a moment. I'm getting to him. It matters, I promise. And the reason I'm addressing that is because there's a lot of apostles who aren't doing their job because they know that their job isn't popular. The main job of an apostle is going to get you more in trouble than it will get you loved, than it will get you embraced. Why is that? You're addressing systems. You're confronting culture. You're attacking tradition. People have memories. People have emotions. People have feelings about these things. And these are the things that you're attacking. You're not necessarily attracting people when you attack their system. The apostolic work is a very offensive job to have. Everyone goes, I was fine with this until you got here. What's wrong with it? What are you messing with now? Is the message of an apostle, right? That's what we're used to hearing. What now? What's wrong now? What can't we do now? That too, fine. You know, people aren't usually excited when we're actually working because usually it's the things that we love, it's the things that we embrace, it's the things that's in the culture, it's the way that we were brought up. The holidays, Christmas, Easter, oh my goodness, we can't do anything. So when you're actually operating in your apostolic calling, and I'm speaking to the apostles that are watching this, you'll find that you bring the toddler out of adults. You get a lot of whining. There's a lot of whining that happens, and you hear that a lot from adults. It's okay. You bring the toddler out of them because it's not the kids you'll hear it from, it's the adults. Oh no, just let us have fun. Oh no, oh no, that's too hard. Oh no, I can't. It's not the kids you hear that from, that's the pastors. That's the leaders, that's the adults. You bring the toddler out of people. You bring the tantrums. You're not my friend anymore. We get that part of the adults. Because again, we find out that people's allegiance isn't to the spirit, it's to the structure. That they're more connected to a structure than they are their own calling and their own identity. Even when we talk about theology, most of what we call theology has nothing to do with theo. It has nothing to do with an encounter with God. It has everything to do with what my culture says is okay and what my culture says is not okay. It's culture driven, which means apostles can be found and seen as dogmatic. We can be seen as extra, unnecessary, doing too much, going too far, mislabeled as religious, simply because we're going against the grain. Because again, the job of the apostle is not conservative. The apostle doesn't go to maintain anything. No, not in that sense. When you go somewhere, when you're going into a new place, you're sent to that place, you're not really there to keep anything. If some things stay, they stay, but your job is to take the culture of the kingdom you come from and implement it in the territory you're now in. That's apostolic stuff. Nod your head with me. That's apostolic. So it deals with demolition, but it's more so construction. The apostolic is architectural by nature, is looking at what should be here. It's prophetic, but it's architectural. It's looking at a design. It's looking at a blueprint that's supposed to be here. Again, it's not so much focused on people, where the people are, how the people feel about it. Not their job. Job is to get the system in place, which is why the apostolic is often considered a fathering position, even though women can also be apostles. And again, the word father means the source. It's the giver, right? And let's briefly talk about gender roles. This isn't my topic, but let's talk about why that term even means that, right? Currently today, we have the idea or the structure, the cultural structure that the man is the head of the house. Today, we don't know why that is. We just know that it is. This is because back when we were tribal, men were physically stronger. So they were the ones who would go out and fight, go out and hunt, and gather resources. However, it was the women who stayed and they maintained, they managed. Entrepreneurship is feminine. It is the management of resources. Managing money is not a masculine trait. We've learned that today, but it's actually feminine. Even when I look across the cultures and I look at the spirits of wealth and the spirits of prosperity, most of the time they're feminine. Most of the time it's a goddess in the culture, not a god. That's because the management of these resources is the feminine goal. I'm talking about this for a reason, I promise, and I will get to Herod. The reason why is man was off fighting. He gave the resources, but the woman managed the resources. He's gone. Somewhere we lost the why to that, and it became now man does everything. He makes the money, he manages the money. Women takes care of the kids. Now that's a messed up region because now she doesn't even get to manage the money. You've just left her with kids. Leave her with kids, no money. Overall, when we talk about that provider aspect, because that's where this comes from. The idea of what was being provided is the thing that we need to keep. What is a man, what is a husband actually supposed to provide? Structure and stability. And it's in that structure and stability that the wife actually gets the freedom to express herself. It's the husband's job to create the canvas for the wife to paint. It's in the creativity of the wife that your family actually prospers if there is a structure provided for that excellence. So when I say that the apostolic is fatherly, by default, it's because it deals with a structure. It presents a structure that fits everyone. So now everyone, regardless of your role, you flow a whole lot better. And this speaks to apostolic grace overall. This is why when you're actually connected to a true apostolic voice, a true apostolic figure, a true apostolic leader, you will find yourself thrown into the deep end of the pool. And what I mean by that is you'll find yourself moving way faster than you're ready to move. We don't have a beginner's class. We don't have slow steps to mastery. No. When you're actually working with a real apostle, you will experience an acceleration on your life. I'll say a healthy and an authentic apostolic figure, an apostolic leader, you'll experience an acceleration on your life, meaning whether you know what you're doing or not, just by being submitted to the flow that they're in, existing under their umbrella, you'll notice that, wow, it used to take me so much longer to enter into the presence. And now I enter in just a few minutes, just a few seconds. Hey, it used to take me so long to have this encounter, but this happened so quick. You know, it used to take me so long for oh, look, money's coming. Oh, look, this is coming. I don't know what to do with this yet. Yes, we throw you into the deep end. The idea, there's a verse that talks about give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, shall I cause men to pour into your bosom to the extent that there will not be room enough to receive. Yeah, that not room enough to receive it stuff is apostolic. Because we pull you into the kingdom we come from, not the one you're used to. The apostolic is alien by default. The way we work and what we're connected to is not local. And it throws people off, especially in today's culture that treats every spiritual leader like it's supposed to be a pastor. that everything's supposed to be spoon-fed and easy, which is why most leaders, and I say this for a lot of apostolic and prophetic leaders, that you find yourselves prisoners to your own communities because you've presented yourself as a pastor and you're an apostle or a prophet. You've limited yourself to the emotions and capacity of people. Therefore, you never stretch them, because if you stretch them or push them, they leave. And your identity is whether they stay or go. I want to talk to you about a leader real quick that I know about, who he had a ministry of about 70,000 people. He preached one message and almost everybody left him with like 12 people. And when everybody left, he even looked at them and said, do y'all want to go too? That's Yeshua. In today's standard, he'd be considered a failed leader. He ran off so many people. He offended the sheep, is what they would say. A heretical message. Imagine the gossip. Oh, I don't know about that drinking blood stuff and eating bodies. I don't know about that. He done went a little too far. Yeah, I was with him up until he said that. I was fine with the miracles and the fish, and but hey, this being like you, that's a bit much, because the apostolic calls you into identity. It calls you into a structure that requires your identity. So if you're someone who hasn't yet decided to do their calling, you'll find being around apostles scary. You'll find it intimidating, not because we're intimidating people, but because our job is intimidating. To bring you into a culture that demands the identity that you're running from, very intimidating. Makes you feel seen, makes you feel exposed, makes you feel not ready. I want you to know that you never feel ready working with apostles. You learn to sink or swim. You get it on the fly. Eventually, you learn to run alongside us, but it requires your momentum to keep up. A good picture of this was Elijah. Yeah, Elijah's a prophet, but I'm going to use him as a picture, because why not? There are no rules. His student Elisha asked him, he said, can I have a double portion of your mantle? He said, ooh, what you asked for is a difficult thing. It's not difficult to multiply an anointing. It's not difficult to multiply an impartation. The difficult part is that he was talking to a spiritual father who was teleporting around the region and wasn't bound to be in the same city or the same country in the next 5 minutes. So in order for him to be there when Elijah ascended, he had to learn to teleport too. He had to learn to translate in order to keep up with him. That's a good picture of the apostolic. You have to keep up with us. But the goal is your maturity. In the seeking, in the chasing, in the maintaining, you find your place in the heavenly system that we're embodying, assuming you're meant to be attached to whichever individual. Because yes, I'm an apostle, but you might not be called to me. There might be someone else whose blueprint actually fits your identity so much better. So in that, there's a lot that you learn about yourself just being around us, because being around us requires you. You don't get to hide. It's either catch up or get left. That's how the apostolic works. So when you're around an apostolic leader, and y'all hear me say this all the time, I am looking for y'all to take my job. There is so much stuff I would rather train y'all to do so y'all can do, and I can send people to y'all so that I could work on other stuff. There's so much things, which is why I give away so many secrets, so many mysteries and everything else, is because I'm not actually trying to limit you, because I know in my prioritizing of the blueprint that I have, I know that I need you at your best for that to work. Oh, it's a selfish goal. I need you at your best so that my blueprint works. What I'm building doesn't work if you're left in an infantile state. If you're lost, confused, and helpless, this doesn't work, which means that I have to empower. It's part of the job. Now let's get to Herod. I'll read a story for y'all. I promise this is the closest One of my sessions is going to sound like Bible study for a while. But regardless of spiritual culture, you should be able to catch the fire, catch the momentum. Keep up with me. There's a story that you heard, and I'm going to take my time and we're going to read together. Let's read. So we have, this is Matthew chapter 2. And for some reason, I have it in King James. Who cares? I'll read it in King James. And I'll start at the top. Now, when Yeshua was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king. Hey, this means that Herod is the king of Jerusalem at this time. He's the king of Judea. There came wise men from the east to Jerusalem. They're not from Jerusalem. They're from somewhere else. They're from the east. Saying, where is he that is born king of the Judeans, or king of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and we are come to worship him. This is again talking about Yeshua's birth. Verse 3, when Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where Christ should be born. And they said to him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently. This is Herod, by the way. He said, go and search diligently for the young child, and when you have found him, tell me that you found him, that I might come and worship him too. When they had heard the king, they departed. And yes, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. And when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. Verse 11, and when they came into the house, they saw the young child with Mary. Keep in mind, he's 2 years old. That was a 2-year journey. They saw the young child with Mary and his mother and fell down and worshiped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. 3 of the most precious things. My boy wasn't broke. And also it wasn't 3 people that came. It was a caravan, and they just brought a bunch of things, those 3 things. And being warned of God in the dream that they should not return to Herod. So that means God spoke to them in a dream and told them, hey, don't go back to the king. Don't go back to the leader. It's almost like this, the leader is always right stuff doesn't fly when you read. So God warned them in the dream, don't go back to Herod. They departed unto their own way, back to their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, an angel appeared to Joseph, blah, 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 and tells him, hey, take the boy, take his mama, go to Egypt and stay there until Herod dies. And when he arose, and it said, and be there until I bring thee word, for Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child, his mother by night, they left and they lived in Egypt. So he lived in Egypt until Herod died. It says that verse 15, and he was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, out of Egypt I've called my son. Egypt can't be too bad if the Lord was able to hide there from an Israel king, from an Israelite or a Judean king. I'm almost done reading, I promise. Then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, he found out they didn't listen to him. He was exceedingly angry, wrathful, and he sent forth and slew all the children in Bethlehem and in all the coasts thereof, from 2 years old and under. Why would he look for 2 years old? Oh, it's been over 2 years and they haven't come back. So he figured the baby that was just born would have to be at least 2. Again, they didn't get there in a night. It took them 2 years to find them. These wise men didn't meet a baby. They met a toddler. So he sent forth and they killed all the children and in all the coasts nearby from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. And I'm going to stay right there. That's as far as I want to read. Of course, it goes more and more into the beginning of the story. There's a reason I'm telling you this story. I promise. I don't really do Bible study like that. That's not my thing, but this is important. Herod is a lot of what we call spiritual fathers and leaders in the communities today. This is what we call elders. Someone who has the ability to discern and know who you are, but instead of being empowered by it, they feel threatened by it and they seek to destroy you before you can start. So many of you, regardless of your spiritual affiliation, have found yourselves under a Herod or under the byproduct of a Herod. Someone who knows your calling. See, that's the thing about predatory leadership. It's not usually due to a lack of discernment. It's due to the presence of it. They know exactly who you are and what you can do before you figure it out. And they just don't like that because your excellence is a threat to theirs. Seen this my whole life. Not just happening to me, but I've seen other people get mistreated. You know, I'm from the South. I'm from Texas. Grew up Baptist. A common theology is that God will never tell you something that he won't tell the leader. That is not a rule. That's a means of control. That's a way to validate and shut down and control any prophecies. That's a checks and balance in case the leader is off. We have to take our Herod seriously because what happened? Herod went out there and killed everybody in his city and everyone in the coast that was up and starting. So it's important to pay attention to this in an age that we're in where there's so much beginning. I'll give you a few keys to notice if you're dealing with a Herod or if you're dealing with a true apostolic leader, because both are scary. Notice one, Herod tried to lure him in by flattery. He said, oh, please bring him to me so that I could worship him too. And he wanted him dead. Herod will never say that they don't like you. You have to read their actions, not their words. They'll never tell you they don't like you, that they're intimidated by you, that they want you gone. That'll never come out of their mouth. They're going to flatter you. So something that I've experienced many times is people saying, oh, I was just like you when I was your age. You know what? God has given me wisdom in that. I know exactly what you're going through. Come be my spiritual son. So I can properly train you in the ministry. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. How many of y'all have heard that? Oh, you remind me so much of myself. Let me train you so that I can show you how this goes, because I don't want other people to misunderstand your gift. There's other people out here who might not understand you, but I understand you. Has anyone else heard that? Somebody said exact words. Yeah, you had Herod talking to you. Herod said, I want you here and I want you close. They say keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's Herod's motto. I want you here. I want you under my eye because they're looking to abort your destiny. And the best way they can do that, see, if you go too far, they can't control how great you become. They know what you're called to be, and what you're called to be is greater than them. That's scary. So if I keep you close and I mentor you and I just tell you, ooh, you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. No, you're not ready yet. Ooh, just keep serving. They start giving passive aggressive sermons. Oh, when I was growing up, I didn't worry about when I'd get to minister. I was just focusing on the vision of my leader. That's not apostolic. That's Herod talking. That's Herod saying, hey, don't worry about what you were sent here to do. Do what I tell you to do. But it doesn't sound nice when you say it that way. So it has to be rebranded. Come here, let me train you. No, this is just processing. This isn't abuse. I'm doing this so that you can be strengthened and so that you can mature. You're just not mature enough yet, says Herod. The truth is, you've been mature. And they're afraid of your maturity. So they're trying their best to delay the inevitable. They don't know it's inevitable. Herod is arrogant. He thinks he can actually stop what God called you to do. He actually thinks he has that power because he's had the ability to stop so many others. Notice Herod didn't have any issue killing other peoples. He didn't have any other problem stopping or aborting other people's destinies. He did that at the drop of a hat. The wise men never came back. He did that off a whim. He assumed that they left him because it's been over 2 years and they ain't came back. He said, you know what? They must have left. He had no confirmation. He just killed because he felt like it. He was like, just in case, let's kill these other destinies. So in a herotic society, in a herotic ministry, in a herotic spiritual culture, you'll notice that Herod will often use the community to turn itself dead towards you. Now, all of a sudden, all the friends that you had that were close to you, you loved each other, you worked together, you prayed for each other, they prayed for you, you prayed for them, you were blessed by them, you were blessed being there. All of a sudden, bam, it shuts off. Now no one has time, no one has space, no one's available, no one has permission to be near you anymore. Because Herod can shut the community off like that. Again, that's not apostolic. Yeah, y'all apostles do that, but that's Herod. It goes, whoo, whoa, what happened? Why did the community die all of a sudden? Yeah, Herod kills communities. He will shut the entire community down from having access to you. He will kill so many people's destinies that as a community, they think it's just part of the process. It's just not our time yet. Guess what? It'll never be your time under Herod because it's always his time. You got to wait for him to die. Even Yeshua didn't really get to start till Herod died. Even he had to wait for Herod to die. He had to move out of the way till Herod died. So some of you are trying to make amends with leaders that you really just need to wait for to die. Sorry, that's not the Christian message you're looking for. That's not the happy-go-lucky Care Bear. Some of these leaders got to die for the people to be free. It's not until their heart stops that you have the freedom to go and do what needs to be done because they're taking up space. They're controlling the community. The very community you're called to, they're occupying that space. They're keeping it under lock and key. And Herod says, over my dead body. As long as Herod is alive, he will fight you tooth and nail through influence. All of his friends, all of his associates, all of his followers, all of his subjects are his property. You can't touch anything that belongs to Herod until Herod is gone. Yikes. So for some of you, I just described your pastor, I just described your guru, your spiritual leader. It's okay. It's better to know that you're dealing with a Herod so that you can unherodize yourself than to sit there waiting for someone who is never going to release you. I want you to know that you never need God's permission to, you never need someone else's permission to obey the Spirit. You know what? Since we're already having Bible study, let me lead you to another story that no one ever preaches on for obvious reason. Give me one moment while I pull it up. Give me one moment while I find it. Because you hear this a lot, especially when it deals with prophets. They say prophets need training. You have to listen to the seasoned people. These people have been in ministry longer than you. These people have done X, Y, and Z longer than you. And while that's respectable, that's not law. So here it is. So there's a story that you can find in 1 Kings chapter 13. And it's actually, I believe, the whole chapter, but I'm not going to read the whole chapter because who has time for that? So verse 1, I believe it is. Yeah, verse 1, 1 Kings chapter 13 said, by the word of the Lord, a man of God came from Judah to Bethel as Jeroboam was standing by the altar to make an offering. By the word of the Lord, he cried out against the altar. Altar, altar, this is what the Lord says. A son named Josiah will be born to the house of David. On you he will sacrifice the priests of the high places who make offerings here, and human bones will be burned on you. That same day, the man of God gave a sign. This is the sign the Lord has declared. An altar will be split apart, and the ashes on it will be poured out. 4, when King Jeroboam heard that the man of God cried out against the altar at Bethel, he stretched out his hand from the altar and said, seize him. But the hand he stretched out towards the man shriveled up so that he could not pull it back. Also, the altar was split apart and its ashes poured out according to the sign given by the man of God by the word of the Lord. So he just had an accurate prophecy, right? Verse 6, then the king said to the man of God, intercede with the Lord your God and pray for me that my hand may be restored. So the man of God interceded with the Lord, and the king's hand was restored, and it became as it was before. Powerful stuff. The king said to the man, come home with me for a meal, and I will give you a gift. But the man of God answered the king, even if you were to give me half of your possessions, I would not go with you, nor would I eat bread or drink water here. For I was commanded by the word of the Lord, you must not eat bread or drink water or return by the way you came. Look, he received very direct instructions from the God he was working with. Even kings, right? So he took another road and did not return by the way he had come to Bethel. Verse 11. Now there was a certain old prophet living in Bethel, a seasoned veteran in the community, a father, a prophetic father. Right. Keep up. There was a certain old prophet living in Bethel whose sons came and told him all that the man of God had done there that day. They also told their father what he had said to the king. Their father asked them, which way did he go? And his son showed him the road that the man of God from Judah had taken. So he said to his sons, saddle the donkey for me. Pretty much he said, get the car ready. I'm finna go meet him. And when they had saddled the donkey for him, he mounted it and rode it after the man of God. He found him sitting under an oak tree and asked him, are you the man of God who came from Judah? He said, I am. Verse 15, so the prophet said to him, come home and eat with me. The man of God said, I cannot turn back and go with you, nor can I eat bread or drink water with you in this place. I have been told by the word of the Lord, you must not eat bread or drink water there or return by the way you came. He said, God told me not to do that. The old prophet answered and said, I too am a prophet, as you are. An angel said to me by the word of the Lord, bring him back with you to your house that he may eat bread and drink water. But he was lying to him. So the man of God returned with him and ate and drank in his house. Now look at that, listening to these seasoned prophetic voices over what you're hearing from the Spirit. Today, they call you rebellious for not doing this. But let's keep up with the story, right? Verse 20, while they were sitting at the table, the word of the Lord came to the old prophet who had brought him back. He cried out loud to the man of God who had come from Judah. This is what the Lord says. You have defied the word of the Lord and have not kept the command your Lord your God have gave you. You came back and ate bread and drank water in the place he told you not to eat or drink. Therefore, your body will not be buried in the tomb of your ancestors. When the man of God had finished eating and drinking, the prophet who had brought him back saddled his donkey for him. As he went on his way, a lion met him on the road and killed him. And his body was left lying in the road, with both the donkey and the lion standing beside it. Some people who passed by saw the body lying there with the lion standing beside the body, and they went and reported it in the city where the old prophet lived. He said, look what you did. It's important to know that we're currently in a culture that tells you that God will never have you disobey an elder or tell you to do something that the senior or elder wouldn't advise or talk to you about giving specific instructions. This story not only spits in the face of that ideology, but flips it. The danger is being in a place where you value your elders and your mentors more than the audible voice of God in your life. This ideology actually got people killed. And I'm actually reading a post I made by it, right? So I'm just reading a little bit. I've seen it kill a lot of people. I know plenty of people who know what they should be doing, but won't because their covering hasn't released them yet. I know plenty of leaders who have crushed people's visions and destinies by being dismissive and belittling other people's assignments, often because they wanted them to do something else. See, I believe in elders and mentors. I also, and to a greater extent, believe that when you hear God, you're supposed to obey the God that you hear without any of these man-made checks and balances. Understand this loud and clear. I've been in ministry longer than you, will kill you. That is a death threat, and I want you to start treating it that way. When you hear the Spirit tell you something and the seasoned veteran tells you, well, I've been in ministry longer than you, to shut you up, they are trying to kill you. Whether they're trying to take your life or they're trying to take your destiny, consider it a death threat every time. Because that, again, is you dealing with a Herod. So you'll operate, you'll find that your spirituality will bloom depending on which leader you're under. If you're under an apostolic voice, and let's just say use apostolic as an umbrella to speak to a leader that's actually in their heavenly blueprint. That's how you can be apostolic without being an apostle. You're actually in your blueprint. You're in your identity operating within an apostolic blueprint. So either that's who your leader are, or you have someone who has notoriety, they have power, they have authority, they have publicity, they have popularity, but they're threatened by you. Or more so, their ego is focused on them and only them. They think only God has called them, that the Spirit only cares about them and what they have going on. So they're more interested in you serving them and their vision than they are in you actually being who you're called to be. And you hear it again. There's a lot of passive aggressive sermons that you hear where you learn to read between the lines. They'll start to preach about rebellious prophets. How do they define a rebellious prophet? One that doesn't listen to their elders. Oh, you mean like the one that should have disobeyed his elder? Otherwise, if he would have disobeyed his elder, he'd still be alive in the Bible. Yikes. They say one that doesn't have a leader over them, a covering, some level of accountability. I don't trust a prophet that's accountable to a person more than God. I think the news has showed us enough of those prophets that are accountable to their spiritual father, spiritual mother, and go and be horrible people anyway. It's almost like that doesn't work. That having a person there doesn't work. If the person doesn't respect the spirit, hey, yes, you're right. They do call you Jezebel when you do that, which is funny because most of them are Jezebel. Because let's talk about that for a bit. Jezebel, by name, the actual meaning, because names reveal realities. They reveal dimensions. Jezebel isn't a woman. Not as a spirit. Jezebel just means unappointed. So it's anytime you find yourself in a position you're not called to be in, a place you're not supposed to be. So Jezebel is your apostle pretending to be a pastor. Jezebel is your pastor trying to lord over prophets. You read that nowhere in the Bible where a prophet had a pastor as a mentor. Yikes. Never mind. I'll leave y'all alone. But you'll find Jezebel in those situations where they're like, oh, I go as pastor, I go as evangelist because people can accept that a bit more. Yeah, that's Jezebel. That's Jezebel. Jezebel isn't a woman that wear pants. No. Jezebel is your pastor who got his calling from a theology degree because he just wanted to preach. That's Jezebel. So when it comes to these callings, I want you to know something. I can't call you, and neither can your leader. So if you have a leader that can call you, it's because they're Jezebelic. They're herotic in nature. If they can give you a calling, it's because they gave themselves theirs. I can't give you anything. I can't make anyone a prophet. I can't make an apostle. Now, what I can do is I can recognize the calling that you already have, and I can help you with it. I can find a place for you if I know a place. Because again, everybody's place is not with me. Some of you do not match the blueprint that I have. You fit somewhere, just maybe or may not be over here. Just depends. Let's pray for a moment. Right now, Father, I just speak over their minds and their hearts. I speak wisdom over their situations. I speak courage, strength, and endurance. May they become so explosive that they break free from any herotic and Jezebelic structure that they find themselves in. May their eyes become wise to the devices of abortion sent against their lives and their destinies. Okay. Because that's one of the things that you'll experience. When you're working under Herod, there is infinite delay. I mentioned this a little bit, but I haven't said it this way. There is infinite delay. You are never ready. They are never going to release you. But when you're operating under a true apostolic grace, you struggle to keep up. You struggle to keep up. So your prayer for Holy Spirit later on today in your own time, I want you to ask Holy Spirit, am I under a Herod or am I under someone that's in their apostolic identity? And should you find yourself under someone with an authentic apostolic grace, whatever that grace might be, or whoever that person might be, the question then becomes, what is their blueprint and where do I fit in it? If you find yourself under Herod, the question is, where is the apostle that has the blueprint that I'm made for? So that I can find that. Because understanding, Herod will gaslight you to the fullest extent. It will always be about your heart. Oh, the heart posture. Oh, you're focusing on the wrong. Oh, that's pride. Oh, that's this. Oh, that. Herod just don't want you to go nowhere. For those who took my spiritual warfare and deliverance course, herotic warfare is Herod's God. That's his tool. Truthfully, Herod will kill you however he can kill you. But herotic warfare is what he'll do to keep you if he can't kill you. Understand that. Some people will keep you if they cannot kill you. They will give you a job just to keep you busy so you don't do the one you're called to. They will give you accolades. They will celebrate you as long as you don't go nowhere. Because they're trying, you remember, Herod's weapon is flattery. That's his lure. So be careful with those who meet you with a celebration. Could be Herod. I don't want you paranoid. Just learn how to discern spirits. Know who you're dealing with. I've met people who authentically could discern what I was walking in and had no intentions of killing it. They wanted to see me prosper. I was sitting with some elders yesterday. I was in Nakuru for a little bit, got to sit with some elders. We talked for a little bit about some of the plans I have for Kenya, and they said, what can we do to make that happen? I even found out later that one of the other elders had pulled one of the people in my team to the side and asked him if they could form a committee to help me. I didn't know this. Going behind my back to help me. Yeah, that's not Herod. That's not Herod at all. You know, there's other people. I've met some people in my hometown. I've met people in Texas who authentically want to see people grow. Now, what I can say is that beyond the leadership that you're under, sometimes it's the psychological damage of even dealing with a Herod to begin with. Because there comes a point where a lot of us say, and this is what happens, and this is Herod's goal. After putting you through so much, a lot of you quit and say, if it takes all that, I don't want it. And Herod sits in the back and claps because they finally did it. They got you to quit. Many of us are like, that take too much. If I got to go through that, I don't want to do it. So I've met so many people, so many authentically gifted and talented and called people who don't want to do their job just because they put up with Herod for too long. I've talked to so many people who tell me what they used to do. People say, I used to heal the sick every day. I don't do that no more. It's too much. Dealing with people, dealing with their leaders, it's too much. They dealt with Herod. So guess what? We're out of healers. I know people who prophesy better than me, better than your favorite prophet. And they don't really do ministry. They don't really talk to nobody. They don't really use the gift. They say, I don't want to put up with that. And then I go and find out their story. It's like, oh, there was a time when they were really growing and they were passionate. And then the leaders got jealous and they started slandering them and working again. Oh, yeah. Herod. So my prayer is that Herod, the spirit of Herod, be broken off of the land. Whatever land you're in, my prayer is that the spirit of Herod be broken off of it so that those who are emerging can emerge. I speak a special grace over the forerunners. Hello, apostolic is forerunning by nature. It's Ogunish by nature. Catch it if you catch it. The point of being a forerunner or a trailblazer is that you're creating a trail. You're paving a way. Why are you doing that? Because it doesn't exist, which means no one has gone before you to show you the way. There are no elders in the area that you're going. That's the point of forerunning. We wouldn't call it uncharted territory if we knew what was over there. This wouldn't be the cave of mystery if we knew all of this stuff already. I've made this joke before. I'm like, this is the cave of mystery, not cave of it's all easy to understand. No, a lot of this stuff's supposed to fly over your head, hit your spirit, and then wake you up at 3 going, oh, I get it now. Yeah, it's supposed to be an epiphany. So yeah, so I'll leave you with this as I wrap up. Hopefully that's not a Baptist wrap up. But I can say this with complete confidence that I'm okay with every part of my calling. The good, the bad, the ugly, the rejection, and there's a lot of it, the acceptance. I'm getting a little bit of that now. I'm fine with all of it because it's mine. The danger that you're in by not walking in your calling and being who you're meant to be is that all of the struggles you go through don't matter. It adds nothing of value to you. It's just busy work, which means you struggle for nothing. You go through backlash for nothing. I can at least say that everything that I've gone through, I went through it as myself. No one has ever met a persona. I don't have one. So my encouragement for you is that whatever you go through, please do it as you, so that at least it adds value to you. It actually matures you, it grows you, it stirs you. Yeah. At least be you when you go through it. You're letting your persona take all the points, so when the persona die, you have nothing. Again, I'm looking forward to seeing y'all April 11th in Houston for Dunamis Day. It's going to be a day of apostolic acceleration, a day for you to experience the supernatural, a day for you to receive impartation, activation. Activation. Some people ask me, what does that mean? Oh, that means that when you leave, you get to do some stuff. I'm giving away codes. I'm giving away techniques. I'm giving away the how-tos, the operation, right? Because just because I lay my hand on you, you get filled with power, you shake, you fall, doesn't mean you know what you're doing yet. I want to teach you how to cultivate this stuff. So you can consider it a workshop. You actually get to grow in this. For those of you interested in coming to Dunamis Day, of course, I named it Dunamis on purpose. Dunamis is the Greek word where we get the word dynamite from. It deals with the explosive demonstration and revelation of power. Miracles, signs, wonders, healings, all types of stuff is going to happen. If you need something, that is one of the best places for you to be. My job, my goal is to change your life in just a few hours. I'm not someone that exists by fluff and filler. It is not a church service. If you come with your Bible held tight to you in the Bible case and you're reading glasses because you think I'm finna preach a sermon and we're gonna do some hours of worship and then I'm gonna lay hands, you're gonna fall, cry, and go home, you are wasting your time coming to my meeting. We're not doing that. I called it Dunamis Day, not Nelson talk to you for most of the time day and pray for 10 minutes day. Nah. This is a day centered around empowerment. Truthfully, it's a code that I learned from Samson, one of my mentors via the Cloud of Witnesses. Samson did something very interesting. He revealed a pattern of revival. He took foxes, 2 by 2, paired them together and gave them fire for them to run with. That's what I will be giving to you. I will be setting you on fire so that wherever you go afterwards, you get to set it on fire. My goal is to give you an encounter so that you leave as an encounter and you give other people encounters. That's the job of Dunamis Day. So if you're able to come, like everything, the website, caveofmystery.org, the school website, the actual registration website is through an Eventbrite link that you'll find through the event section, or you can go directly to schooloftheempire.com. But we're going to have some fun in Houston. Yes, I know a lot of you are interested in like where else I'm going to be. When I find out, y'all find out. There's a few other nations, I promise. Once I got to Kenya, a bunch of other nations opened up for me. So I end up finding myself being somewhat of a crusader these days. There's several nations that have already reached out, and I'm in the planning phase, and I'm buying visas. It's a lot going on. So when I'm able to, I can say that I will be in the UK in the fall, looking at November. There's a few other places. I'll be in Pakistan sometime this year. I'll be in India sometime this year. I'll be in Australia sometime this year. I'm moving around. When the Spirit tells me where I can go, that's where I go. There's certain regions that I'm praying for, that I'm asking the Spirit for, that I can have. Again, it's systemic. It's not people-based. Let's say pastors disciple people, apostles disciple nations. I'm looking for countries. So no, I'm not going to be doing any water baptisms at Dunamis Day. I don't have that much control over the space. We'll be doing a bunch of fire baptisms and spirit baptisms, though. Will it be live? So most likely not, but it will be recorded, and I'll upload some of the footage later. So as of now, not live. Yeah. Now, me having a global ministry was truthfully one of the first prophecies that was ever released about me. My mom got that prophetic word before I started ministry, is that he's going to have he's going to have a global ministry. He's called to multiple nations. And I was fine with my hometown. You often find that you get a job that isn't the one you would have picked. Can Dunamis Day only be done in person? There's so much you are going to miss out. Even if it does become live streamed, which isn't likely, there's so much that you miss from not being there in person. Of course, there's some graces that you'll get just from watching the footage. Truthfully, if you were paying attention, there's impartations being released while I'm talking now. So there's some stuff you can get, but most of what I'm going to do, you won't be able to benefit from it. All right, y'all. So that's pretty much it. Again, if you want to connect with me and all the stuff that I have going on, my website, caveofmystery.org. My books, Fullness Guide to Sonship and Mysticism. I haven't talked about this one as much, but I did make my own Bible because I got tired of carrying around so many books that I put all the books, all the biblical books, extra biblical books, all in one volume. Now, I'll be honest and say that some people find the print small. I do not have 20/20 vision and I read it just fine. So proceed at your own risk, but I read it just fine. I am working on a multi-volume version of this for people who want to read it more. Just need it to be a bit bigger. I'm working on that. But in the meantime, you can get all my books off of Amazon. So that is it. Again, y'all be blessed. I speak alignment over you. May you find the leader that you're meant to be under. May you find the system that is designed for the calling you actually have. May the heavenly you find its way on earth so that we can make earth more like heaven. That's all I got for y'all today. Y'all be blessed. Later.